Well, people have asked about who I am, and I would say that there's a brief bio on the gregcaton.com. You just click on bio, it gives a brief description of my life. But the reason that they ask that is because there is the assumption that anyone who would create the things that Alpha Omega Labs has created over the course of its 30 years and the kind of performance of the products we've created infers that there must be somebody behind it with a lot of letters after the name, a lot of formal credentials, and this isn't the case. You know, my wife has 4 college degrees. After her associates, a bachelor's and master's from Texas A&M and her ND from a school that's since gone out of business called Clayton. And in my case, an associate's degree. You know, if a person judges a particular product or theory of practice not based on the results of that practice, not based on the product that results from it, but on credentials, I think they'll be sadly disappointed. The proof should be in the pudding, but it's not. So I think it's important to say that I have never represented myself as anything other than a medical researcher with not a lot of formal education. I've said repeatedly that not even everything I learned in formal education is 1% of what I know. Everything else is from medical research. And the things that I have studied, I'm not sure that a great deal of it doesn't fall into the category where it's not taught anywhere. So the historian Gary North frequently liked to say, always beware respectable people, for they're beholden to the institutions that are the source of their respectability. I think there's an element of truth to it. We should judge the work of others by what performance. What are they able to do? They are creating products. What do we know about the results, as opposed to credentials? Henry Ford had very little education. He certainly didn't have a degree in automotive science. Henry Ford created a pretty big company. And Michael Dell, Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates, all college dropouts. None of them finished their first year of college, and all of them run billion-dollar operations. Of course, arguments can maybe do some of that as never being appointed, but nonetheless, I think it follows this same vein. Look at what people are doing, the results of their work, and how does it play into what you're looking for and what you want to be associated with. As far as the letters that come after a person's name, it's just an indicator they've successfully gone through educational programs. That's all it is. You know, I once read that IQ test measures one's ability to do well on an IQ test. I think there's an element of truth to that. I know some people with some pretty high IQs who, by my way of thinking, are remarkably unintelligent. So this is something to keep in mind. So I would say that if someone were to judge the results of my work or the things that Alpha Omega Labs has produced over the last 30 years based on my credentials, they're not going to be impressed. But if that's the basis upon which they judge the work, practices, and products that a person produces, then I think they will be disappointed. But so that answers that. I asked to be judged on my work and the results I produced, because very few people who are highly credentialed would even think of exploring the areas I've explored.